Okay, this next award goes to Gabe Hood. And Gabe is going to Missouri State University, and he's majoring in international business with a minor in German. And right now, he has a provost scholarship, which is worth $4,000. So that's good. And the next thing I asked for 5 memories from Gabe, and the first one was competitions, and you listed you enjoyed the march. I'm assuming the marching band competitions. I'm assuming the concerts, the performances, all those things. And each one of them has its own challenge. Each one has its own voyage to get to that point to be able to do that. The other thing that you mentioned were the bus rides. And I know you were on the brass bus a lot. I think Mr. Kramer, was Kramer on your bus a lot? He might have been on there some, but he usually rode the first bus and I rode the last bus. So the bus rides, I know probably a lot of those bus rides were fun coming home, except some of those where we're 2, 3 in the morning. Well, not 3 in the morning, but 1 or 2 in the morning. We've had a few of those bus rides. And I know definitely you wrote on here your other favorite memory was going to New York. And I agree. That was probably one of my favorite trips for different reasons. I liked the Albuquerque trip last year, but I think the New York trip was definitely an interesting. And after being to New York, it's one of those things where you can definitely see how the COVID-19 could spread, because you've got millions of people right on top of each other, and it is very difficult to social distance even when you're just walking around the streets. So that's a very difficult thing to be able to do. And you figure going to the store, and we didn't really see how the people live in apartments, and a lot of their apartments are very small, and they all have to take public transportation. So it's a very different life than what we see here. The hustle, the bustle of New York, the good and the bad. I do think going to the Broadway show, and you can see how, that's all shut down now, but, that was a pretty moving moment for myself. I was kind of leaning against it, and Miss Brown really pushed me to go see a Broadway show, and then I actually put her on that project. So I said, you go and check and see which Broadway show we're going to go see, and then you decide. And then she took a chance on this. It was a known entity in New York, but the Great Comet. So she was nervous if it was going to be a great show or a good show, and obviously Hamilton was out of the picture totally. But it ended up being really moved. I was really moved by that. The musical content, I think, was amazing. And there were other shows that have come along that have won the Tony, but by far, that Great Comet, the musical production, the difficulty, the depth of music was way past anything that I've heard in the last few years. Morning stretches before marching band contest. And, that whole ritual before a contest, it's kind of a fun little different quirky thing. That whole preparation before, and years ago, we used to not do something like that. Years ago, you guys would show up. We basically do some basics. I don't even know if we would play much. And then we'd get you on your bus and you'd go. And then your one time actually going through the contest music, the show was at contest. So, we've changed that probably, I guess, 20 years ago. We changed the way we do that, and I think it's important. I know for myself, I would like multiple run-throughs before I have to go do it. You go and you stretch, you warm up, you have a little downtime, and then you come back and you're feeling even stronger. So I think it helps, definitely. And then lastly, the lunch in the band room. And that's always kind of a fun treat for me too. You guys all eating lunch in the band room, and you're all just kind of crazy and saying crazy things, and you never know what's going to happen and what crazy is going to happen. And yeah, definitely, it's kind of a fun moment for me too. You guys all being in there. So some thoughts on you that I have is probably the thing that I most think about when I think of you is just your positive energy. You have a way of making people happy around you. You have a way of making people feel included. I love how you're always willing to volunteer. You're always willing to help somebody out. You're always willing to do stuff. And I remember early on, I was a little fearful for you because you volunteered. We couldn't find too many folks to step up and volunteer, and you volunteered for the band banquet to do the slideshow and the program. And I was like, oh gosh, is he going to be able to do this? And actually, you end up doing a great job. And you hadn't been, I think it might have been your freshman year, and you hadn't been to a band banquet, so you really didn't know what to expect. But ended up coming off with a hitch, and you were doing that the last several years, and that being a real positive and a real good moment for the kids. You're also willing to help out other band members. You're always willing to see you laughing. I'm always seeing you laughing, always seeing you enjoying being in band around your lunch crew. And I even kind of mentioned this, just being around your lunch crew. There was one time you came in the office, maybe it was this year. I think you were running errands for the office, and that's the other I'm going to talk about in a second. But you came into the band room, and I think we were talking about something, and you said something, and you had said, Mr. Brown, this really used to bother me in the past, and you'd said, I'm really letting this go, and I'm really just kind of ignoring this about people that talk about me and say bad things about me, and he said, I'm just really not letting it bother me anymore. And you said for a time it did. It really dug at me and hurt me, and you said, I just don't really care anymore. And that was kind of a pivotal moment for me because with kids, peer pressure is always something, and sometimes kids are more concerned about what other kids say of them than what the adults around them say, their parents, their family. But that was kind of a growth moment, a maturing moment, I think, for you. And you sharing that with me just made me happy. And seeing you in the hallways running errands in the office, for the office. And every time I see you in the hallway doing those errands, you're kind of happy. You're kind of just walking down the hallway, and I'm like, hey, Gabe, and then I'll see you again a minute later, hey, and it's just fun. So you're in the counseling office, you're here, you're there, and and sometimes I think you may not have been the only one assigned to the office, but I think you were probably the only one that was really working. Because sometimes kids who sign up for that, they find a way to get out of doing stuff. But the thing I'm going to miss most about you, I think, is your ability to connect with people, and then how you have been the example, how to be productive, and how to motivate people around you, how to inspire people around you to be better and to be more than what they are. And that's my everlasting thoughts of you. And obviously you're a great musician. You do all the things that you're supposed to musically and do it well. And but above all else, I think when I look at everything what's most important, being a good person and having that positive impact around people, I think is even more important than anything musically. So if you can tell me, hey, at the end of this career for me, if you've done some positive things for people, then I would look upon that as a positive career rather than I won this contest or we won this or did that. I think that would be the real inspirational moment. So awarding you the Band Pride Award goes to Gabe. Thank you.